Okay, next question. So, as a gay man, what are your thoughts on Mike Pence's stance on electroshock conversion therapy?
I wish it worked. No, I do. I mean, just a little. I mean, a little light. It's a small price to pay to be made normal. My view on this is as follows. Being gay, I have experienced nothing but pandering and mollycoddling my entire life. People have treated me so much more nicely because I'm gay than they would have if I was straight. But it's not all fun and games. And it's not all fun and games not because there's discrimination and prejudice, because there really isn't anymore. At least not it's just not a significant force. What upsets me more is that, without getting TMI with you too much, what upsets me more is that I can't make a child with the person I love. And that hits you sooner or later, you know? You're kind of like, you know? And it's not fun. Yeah, you can adopt and blah, 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 but it's not the same. And I don't think it's self-loathing or homophobic to say that if you could change that, you would. And I would. And my only response really to Pence is, I'm not sure I believe that he's a big fan of electroshock therapy. I think he's just a states' rights guy. But my only response is I wish it worked.
Okay, update from Twitter. Somebody tweeted, more people are watching Dangerous Faggot # Milo at Miami than voted for Jill Stein. So that's fake news.
Well, you see, everyone calls Trump a narcissist. People even, and you will find this very difficult to believe, but I want you to just, bear with it. People even call me a narcissist. Does happen. Does happen. She's the biggest narcissist in American politics. And this is a woman who is completely irrelevant to the election, allowed herself to be used as a vessel for troublemaking by the Clintons afterwards. And raised $2 million, and that's gone. Sorry, guys. Just a little Sanders maneuver, just raise a bunch of money, bomb out, buy a boat. Awesome, guys. She is what's wrong with American politics. The worst kind of cynical, opportunistic maneuvering. Raising. I mean, it's a scam. It's a scam. I mean, Daddy tweeted it was a scam, and he was right. She raised $2 million for something that in Wisconsin had him leading by more. Like they did was it Wisconsin? They did a recount, and Hillary's vote share went down. Idiots. And of course, Pennsylvania, they've said they've given up on that, which means that nothing can be done. Of course it can't be done. He won. Get over it. The problem is that progressives and liberals are always looking for someone else to blame for their own failures. Their own failure to win this election must have been the fault of Russia. Must have been, Russia and WikiLeaks. Must be the fault of white supremacists and anti-Semites. Must be the fault of all of these things they won't accept because they don't have the commitment to introspection, to self-examination. They won't accept the possibility that maybe, just maybe, they lied about people and to people for so long, called so many people racist and sexist and homophobic and transphobic, bullied and cajoled and language policed and nannied people for so long, that people were even willing to vote for Donald Trump just to make them go away. They won't accept that possibility. It has to be nefarious things. It has to be, in the case of the recount, some kind of error or voter fraud, which we were told was just completely impossible. I mean, it's just a vast right-wing conspiracy. There could be anything wrong with the election result whatsoever. The fact that they fixed their own primary to fuck Sanders is neither here nor there. Of course, we'd never do in a general election. No. It's obviously garbage, and of course, she will sink into the oblivion she so richly deserves, while the more interesting upstarts of this new cultural libertarian revolution, whether it is Tommy Lahren, who I think is wonderful and interesting and smart, or various other people who are rising at the moment, who have long 30-year careers ahead of them. Jill Stein is not one of those people. Good riddance to irrelevant, opportunistic, scamming garbage.
Okay, this is from Bio Amethyst. Can you or will you take legal action against Iowa State for their censorship?
I don't think it's for me to do, is it? I think it's for the students to do it. We certainly will provide them with all of the help and resources they need to do it. My view on this is, if I were to sue every college that tried to fuck with me, I'd be in lawsuits for the next 20 years. So I'd rather just go to the colleges that we make it work at. I think that the students at Iowa State have a very strong case, and we will certainly put them in touch with our friends at FIRE and various other places, and if they need help and resources and time, we will give it to them. But I think it's more appropriate for the students as the people who invite us for them to express their wishes in that way than for me to do it. I think since, unlike other conservative speakers, and especially unlike liberal speakers, I don't charge to do this, I don't think I have much of a right to cause that much of a fuss.
Gotcha. All right, this is from Jake Gold. Besides his race or ideology, what are Ben Carson's qualifications for HUD?
Well, he comes from nothing. He's a direct... he's a direct beneficiary of the American dream, of what's possible if you work hard and achieve things, and you do it without recourse to grievance and victimhood and handouts if you just make something of yourself. And he's a great American success story in that way. And I think the housing is the misleading bit. I mean, what does he know about building houses? Well, who cares? It's the urban development that's the interesting bit. That's the important bit. And I think Ben Carson understands, because he's seen it. He's seen it happen with Clarence Thomas, and he's seen it happen with Thomas Sowell and with himself, how liberals want to keep minorities clamped to the teat of public expenditure because it keeps them Democrat voters. But there's another better way to raise communities up out of poverty, raise them up, and I think Ben Carson, in my view, probably would have the same opinion that I do. The best way to help black communities is to build fucking world-class schools on every block so that every poor young black kid who's smart can get to Harvard. That's the best thing he could do in terms of urban development. And everything that we heard from him in the primaries and everything we've heard from him, and I've read his book, which is very good, everything we've heard from him so far indicates that he knows that and he gets it. That, putting Ben Carson in charge of urban development represents a greater gift to the African-American community in this country than anything Obama did for 8 years.
Okay, this is from Tom Y. What do you think about Trump not pursuing the reopening of the Clinton investigation? Oh,
I wish he would. I wish he would. His daddy's not perfect. He's been told by somebody that the grown-up thing to do is let it go. Fuck that. Wasn't that wonderful? Because you'd be in jail. I mean, I can't have been the only person with my dick in my hand that night. Oh, God, he's so wonderful. All right, settle down. I wish he would. I know he won't. I want to see that criminal enterprise, the Clinton dynasty, with their faces ground into the dust by Donald Trump's stylish but affordable hobnail boots. I want them to be brought as low as they can possibly be brought. The little hints we've had from Politico and others that Chelsea is being groomed for a Senate seat. Well, I mean, people. Here's the thing about being born in adversity. So she's grown up not knowing who her dad is, probably like Bill has an affinity with the black community in that way. Sorry, you can laugh. Has grown up, in a horrible, miserable, sociopathic hellhole, the Clinton White House, and doesn't know her place in the world, and she's apparently a nightmare to work with. She's been put in charge of something at the Clinton Foundation, nobody really cares, and now she's being groomed for Senate. This is a family that's not good at anything. They have no skills whatsoever. Their only real talent is the naked acquisition of power. And that's run out because the Clinton dynasty was a product of the 80s and a creature of the 90s, and Hillary Clinton ran at least 10 years too late for president. By the time she ran, she was sort of anachronistic. I would very much like to see that entire family in jail where they belong, but I think perhaps Trump has been persuaded that the grown-up thing to do is to allow them to slink back to the hole they came from, and not bother us anymore. Return to their spirit cooking tables. Their lesbianic witchcraft or whatever it is that's going on at the Podesta dining table. Oh. I will close by noting with joy and satisfaction a story I read about 2 weeks ago that the Clinton Foundation is experiencing a precipitous drop in donations. Because, of course, it was never about helping people who are poor or with anything else. It was about buying access and influence to Hillary, and she fucking lost. So their donations are drying up very, very quickly, which I take huge pleasure in. I don't know. Maybe they'll move back to Arkansas and not trouble our doorways again. Let's hope so. But I wish that he were. I wish he were as vindictive as I am, and I wish he'd do it.
Okay, this is from Summer Weinberg. Shout out. Where do you stand on the criminalization or burning of the American flag?
Well, I'm not a libertarian. I'm a sort of cultural libertarian. I think people should be able to read and express themselves and say whatever they want, but I'm not completely libertarian. I know that Trump was sort of tweeting that people who burn the flag should be imprisoned as a way of sort of, just another moment of annoying the press one day. But I sort of agree. I think America is such a uniquely brilliant country and such a uniquely wonderful place, and I'm a very firm believer in American exceptionalism. I think that there are some things that you shouldn't do, and I think burning the flag is one of them. I don't know my own strength. I don't know about revoking citizenship, but I do think it should be a criminal offense. And I do think that burning the flag should be something that is seen as completely and utterly unacceptable in public life. America is a country born not from ethnicity or geography, but out of ideas. This is a country that is based on values, on the Constitution, the First and Second Amendment, and paying respect to the flag, to the armed forces, to law enforcement, to the people who keep us safe. Thank you, and to the ideas of America and what it is. I think is a sort of expression that we're all in it together. And when you see these sort of odious halfwits like Copernic, idiot. What an idiot that man is. With these grand gestures, and then when they're challenged, they don't actually have anything to say. I think if you're going to do something like disrespect the American flag, disrespect the flag of the greatest country in the history of human civilization, which you are so privileged to have been born in, you better have a really fucking good reason. And I haven't heard a good reason from the left for a very long time.
Gotcha. All right, this is from Jake Gold. Based on the current scientific consensus, is the climate changing?
Of course, it changes all the time. The question is not whether the climate is changing, because the climate has been changing since there has been a planet Earth. The question is how much human beings contribute to it, and whether we should kneecap ourselves economically when we're not expecting or enforcing the same on China and Russia. The reality is that we in the West, whether it's Britain or America, we could totally fuck ourselves economically, and we'd make no difference to the global CO2 production because we're not changing anything that China or India do. So it really makes no difference, so we should just carry on. And in the way that this is about politics and not the environment in any case, is that when things come along, that sort of, these Hail Marys, these Deus Ex Machina events, these moments where you're like, oh my God, we're saved for another generation, like fracking, like shale gas, the left doesn't like them. They say, oh no, you can't do that. It's going to poison the water supply. No, it's not. Well, it might. All right. They don't like any of the solutions that come along. They don't like nuclear. They don't like fracking or gas. They don't like any of the things. Because what they really want is for you to just stop producing and consuming things altogether. Because their problem isn't with the environment. Their problem is with people. They don't like people very much. They think we are a stain on the globe. Well, they're right, but not in the way they mean. Only they are a stain on the globe. I think perhaps it's some sort of projection, but this is the climate change thing is primarily political and scientific only second. It's only secondarily about the environment, only secondarily about science. It is primarily and firstly a political war. The political war they nearly won, but for all the carbon tax crap and the global UN blah blah blah. And by the way, I know about this because, and I've only told one audience this in the past ever, and nobody picked up on it, so maybe they will tonight. But nobody ever noticed that I said this, but I did once, I will confess to you, work for a climate change NGO as a researcher, and I saw in the UN just what a crock of shit it is, and just how much they lie, and how few of the IPCC authors actually believe anything that is published in their own names. It is nakedly partisan politics. So the question, yes, the climate is always changing. The extent to which we're making a difference to it, I don't think very much, if anything. And I certainly don't think we should torpedo our economic development, as important as we are to the survival and the future, the stability, the happiness, the flourishing, the safety of the globe. When China and Russia aren't prepared to do anything, it is too important that America stay strong and stay free to gerrymander with America's energy economy. You just can't take the risk, because without America, the planet is fucked.
All right, our Twitter feed has been blowing up with this. Where did you get your jacket?
Oh, well, thank you. I've got this little store that I'm not telling anyone about because I don't want everyone else to start shopping there. I've got this little store in DC where I get my... I have a feeling that I'm the only white person who shops there. But I have a little store in Washington, DC that I go for my show clothes that keeps me very well appointed.
Gotcha. All right, this question is from Aaron Gonzalez. Why is it controversial to say all lives matter?
Because liberals are idiots. They, there's this lots of things are going wrong when you talk this expression Black Lives Matter. So first of all, if you don't agree with Black Lives Matter, if you don't like them, which I don't, mainly because they're disgusting to the police, but also because they have they are just terrible for black communities. The worst possible imaginable solution to the problems the black community has, in addition to the way they treat the police. If you don't like that, it means you hate black people. What? And that's just sort of accepted. That's just sort of taken as given. Like, if you don't like Black Lives Matter, you're a racist. No. I just don't like them. Like, I recognize there's a problem, and I think that's the wrong solution. No, you're a racist. So there's lots of sort of steps you get to before that. The idea that the left could have become so bananas that they've got that in the bank, and then after that, they've got this thing where, like sort of sexism, no, what is it? Racism is like privilege plus power, blah, 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 blah. This idea that you can't be racist against white people, so all lives matter is a sort of intrinsically racist statement. These people are insane. They're nuts. This is a kind of like bonkers far-left lunacy that only holds in the media and on campuses. It's the only place it makes any sense. It's the only place that anyone believes this shit. And it was very, very comprehensively rejected at the last election. It should not be controversial, and it is not controversial to say all lives matter. It is simply a fact. It is simply the idea that you have journalists on national news networks saying that, oh, you're saying all lives matter is actually really irresponsible and racially insensitive. Go fuck yourself. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Everybody matters. Everyone has different problems. To ignore the fact that the white working classes in this country have some of the worst educational opportunities ahead of them of any group is sociopathic, cruel, vindictive, and disgusting. Everyone has damage. Everyone has problems. The purpose of a civilized society is for us all to come together, to help each other out, to come to know one another despite our differences, rather than driving each other apart. And it's just a perfect microcosm of everything wrong with the left. That a phrase, all lives matter, that is supposed to bring people together, would be seen by them as a symbol of division. It is a perfect microcosm of everything wrong with the left. The only phrase that I use that ends with those words is blue lives matter, but I don't really like to use any of them because I think they're all pointless and useless and stupid.
Gotcha. All right, this tweet is from Zach Moore. What do you think of Megyn Kelly as a journalist?
She's really pretty.
That's it?
No, look, obviously she's... Obviously, Megyn Kelly's very smart and very accomplished, very successful, very admirable. I think that she has never really been happy at Fox, and she'll probably end up doing either a sort of evening anchor or a morning show somewhere else very soon. Obviously very formidably smart, a great backdoor operator. She obviously is very successfully navigated the internal politics at Fox to maneuver herself into where she wants to be. Very canny operator. I think that the vast majority of her feud with Donald Trump came out of her own deliberate misrepresentation of him. And I didn't particularly respect or enjoy that. Though he did get the best line of the whole campaign out of it. Only Rosie O'Donnell. You know, I mean, her reputation was sort of fucked after that, because, you know, there's a moment beyond which you just can't come back. I mean, like, you've called women disgusting and pigs and all the rest of it, and it was like, ooh, what's he going to say? And he's like, only Rosie O'Donnell, and you're just like, yes, yes, yes. You sort of can't come back from that, really. I think she's going to have a very successful, well, I think she is as successful now as she will ever be. I think she's sort of a spent force now, and I think she's going to have a long, long tail of diminishing returns on centrist and progressive networks. I think we've seen the best that we're ever going to see from her, and her book is really bad.
Okay, last question. This is from Wiser and Time. Are you concerned that the Brexit vote may get overturned?
Well, we were very happy with Brexit, and you were happy, you guys, with Brexit too. I know, because it was a sort of portent of Trump. You know, it was a portent of the incoming Trumpenreich. I know. I love that expression because nobody can work out if I'm allowed to say it or not. I've asked everybody on my team if it's naughty and bad, and they all give me completely different answers. Like, can I say Trumpenreich? And they're like, no. I think the new Prime Minister, Theresa May, is pretty much determined. She's pretty dead set on implementing it. And I think if the Prime Minister of a representative parliamentary system with a majority is dead set on doing something, it will probably happen. It would cause pandemonium. I mean, Britain is not a country given to civil war, you know, to sort of civil war. Well, not anymore. You know, we don't have that sort of Second Amendment, like, you know, yes, yes, yes. All right, I've had enough. You know, we don't really do that. But it would cause total pandemonium if they were not to see through the results of a democratic plebiscite. So I don't see any way in which it will not happen. I think it will probably be what's known as a hard Brexit, which means we leave all of the institutions of Europe, which is wonderful, because we excuse ourselves from all of the worst excesses of globalism and globalization, these unaccountable, unelected, bureaucratic, supranational wankers who fucked up the Olympics, fucked up Europe, fucked up NATO, fucked up the UN, fucked up everything. We might finally get a chance to get our borders back, to control our country again, to get our sovereignty back, and to save ourselves from the ravages of political and extremist Islam. Of course, I just mean Islam. Never gets old. We have an opportunity to get our country back. And I think that there was something of the America First feeling that Donald Trump sort of expressed in his rallies towards the end of the campaign. There's something of that happening in Britain for a very long time, and I'm happy that it found its highest expression in Brexit. I don't think the present Conservative government would dare do anything but execute the wishes of the people. Just like, you know, I don't think Donald Trump will dare do anything but build a wall, fix trade, and smash political correctness. Thank you very much. Thanks, Amy. Thank you. What's up? Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
I'm a Democrat, so can I speak bluntly to you?
Yes.
I think you're a hypocrite.
Okay.
You've gone on a rail about political practice.
Sure.
You have gone on religion and how say Islam is entirely, completely bad. Yet you refuse to go Catholics in your own religion. Remember the origin of the word faggot? That was when Catholics were burning gays on a stick. And what about the Republican Party? Have you seen their platform? It's the most.
Why do you think I like Republicans?
I think you like Republicans because you're conservative.
Well, I like Trump. I don't like Republicans. Why do you think I like Republicans? I've very often said the opposite. I think they've been total fucking cunts to blacks and gays. They haven't been particularly nice to women either. I don't know. The only reason that I've supported any candidate for the Republican Party is because it's Trump. Never supported a Republican before. I think they're particularly nice people in many cases.
Yeah, because you're alt-right. You're the speaker for the alt-right.
No, not the alt-right. Oh, you think I'm a white? Oh, okay, all right. Oh dear. Oh dear. White super. I don't what? what do you mean by unbiased? Do you think the New York Times is unbiased? Do you think NPR is unbiased? Right. So what's an unbiased news source in your view? What's an unbiased source in your view? Give us an idea of what an unbiased source looks like in your view. Because it's my view that there's this sort of suggestion on the political left that, you know, the holy grail of journalism is to be unbiased, to just stick to the facts. This sort of fact-checking data journalism kind of mythology, which is really just political ideology masquerading as data-driven reporting. There's this sort of idea that there's this sort of holy grail of impartial reporting. Well, my view on this stuff is that you should be open and transparent about your political objectives in a way that the right is and the left is not. Open and transparent about your political objectives, and let readers make up their own minds. I've never claimed to be impartial. I think it's fairly obvious I have opinions, and everything I say should be taken, you know, with that in mind. And you should go and listen to me, and you should also go and listen to feminists, and you should go and listen to Black Lives Matter activists, and you should work out who you like the best at the end of it. Now, the problem is you're listening to bad sources because you come here and you have sort of under your breath, almost not as loudly as you said anything else, but under your breath you sort of said, oh, white supremacists, blah, blah, blah. You kind of wanted to get it under the radar. You wanted to say it without me having an opportunity to dispute it. Fuck you. How fucking dare you call me a white supremacist? So, oh, you're not leaving as well, are you? Oh, come on. They always leave. They always leave. Defend your allegation that I'm a white supremacist. Defend your allegation that I'm a white supremacist. Defend your allegation that I am a white supremacist. You call me a white supremacist. Defend it. Defending... Am I? Baby. See how... The amount of black dick that's been in my mouth. It's really I must be the most self-loathing white supremacist in the world. I asked you, and I'm going to give you one more opportunity to defend your allegation that I'm a white supremacist. Just try, do it.
Because you're enabling it. Because you have the main platform that is spreading.
What am I enabling? Because what I've talked about this evening isn't race or skin color, I've talked about values. And when the BBC did what you're attempting to do now, as 1.3 million people have seen on my YouTube channel, what they did was try to conflate an admiration for American values, for the First and Second Amendment, for freedom, democracy, property rights, capitalism. They tried to conflate that with race. They tried to say, if you're proud of your country, or you admire the values of another country, that somehow makes you a racist. It doesn't. So I ask you one final time, please justify your allegation that I'm a white supremacist.
As a journalist and a reach to millions of people, you have an obligation, and you are blowing it with this hateful rhetoric that's further dividing this country.
What hateful rhetoric? You're not answering the question. White supremacists hate me. The Daily Stormer is the epicenter of white supremacists on the internet. They declared a holy war on me. They said they would never read Breitbart again until Breitbart fired me. They said I was their number one enemy. White supremacists and anti-Semites hate me. I prefer the expression race mixing kike faggot, but whatever. Sir, racists hate me. They hate me. Of course they do. So racists hate me, but I'm a white supremacist. You're just confusing me. You're confusing me. And I'm very easily confused because I'm a homosexual, but should we give him another chance? Give him one more chance. Okay. All right. Okay. One more try. I believe in you. I believe in you. I know you can do it. One more try. Justify your allegation. I didn't ask you if I was enabling white supremacists, which is just an equally idiotic allegation, but it's not the one you made. I'm asking you to justify your allegation that I'm a white supremacist. Please do so. All right. I think we've had enough. we've had enough fun at the expense of the disabled. Thank you very much. I'm sorry you're so stupid. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Milo.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you guys for coming tonight. Thank you to the police officers. Thank you to my volunteers. I hope that you enjoyed it. Have a great night, guys.
Hey, don't forget this, buddy. Wait, you dropped your L. Take it out with you.
Neither here nor there, of course. We'd never do in a general election. No, no, no. It's obviously garbage. And, of course, she will sink into the oblivion she so richly deserves, while the more interesting upstarts of this new cultural libertarian revolution, whether it is Tommy Lahren, who I think is wonderful and interesting and smart, or various other people who are rising at the moment, who have long 30-year careers ahead of them. Jill Stein is not one of those people. Good riddance to irrelevant, opportunistic, scamming garbage.
Okay, this is from Bio Amethyst. Can you or will you take legal action against Iowa State for their censorship?
I don't think it's for me to do, is it? I think it's for the students to do it. We certainly will provide them with all of the help and resources they need to do it. My view on this is, if I were to sue every college that tried to fuck with me, I'd be in lawsuits for the next 20 years. So I'd rather just go narcissist in American politics. And this is a woman who is completely irrelevant to the election, allowed herself to be used as a vessel for troublemaking by the Clintons afterwards. And raised $2 million, and that's gone. Sorry, guys. Just a little Sanders maneuver. Just raise a bunch of money, bomb out, buy a boat. Awesome, guys. She is what's wrong with American politics. The worst kind of cynical, opportunistic maneuvering. It's a scam. It's a scam. Daddy tweeted it was a scam, and he was right. She raised $2 million for something that in Wisconsin had him leading by more. Like they did was it Wisconsin? They did a recount, and Hillary's vote share went down. Idiots. And, of course, Pennsylvania, they've said they've given up on that, which means that nothing can be done. Of course it can't be done. He won. Get over it. The problem is that progressives and liberals are always looking for someone else to blame for their own failures. Sooner or later, You're kind of like, And it's not fun. You can adopt and blah, 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 but it's not the same. And I don't think it's self-loathing or homophobic to say that if you could change that, you would. And I would. And my only response really to Pence is, I'm not sure I believe that he's a big fan of electroshock therapy. I think he's just a states' rights guy. But my only response is, I wish it worked.
Okay, update from Twitter. Somebody tweeted, more people are watching Dangerous Faggot # Milo at Miami than voted for Jill Stein. So that's fake news.
Well, you see, everyone calls Trump a narcissist. People even, and you will find this very difficult to believe, but I want you to just, bear with it. People even call me a narcissist. Does happen. She's the biggest.
Okay, next question. So, as a gay man, what are your thoughts on Mike Pence's stance on electroshock conversion therapy?
I wish it worked. No, I do. Just a little light. It's a small price to pay to be made normal. My view on this is as follows: being gay, I have experienced nothing but pandering and mollycoddling my entire life. People have treated me so much more nicely because I'm gay than they would have if I was straight. But it's not all fun and games. And it's not all fun and games not because there's discrimination and prejudice, because there really isn't anymore. At least not it's just not a significant force. What upsets me more is that, without getting TMI with you too much, What upsets me more is that I can't make a child with the person I love. And that hits. Our own failure to win this election must have been the fault of Russia. Must have been, Russia and WikiLeaks. Must be the fault of white supremacists and anti-Semites. Must be the fault of all of these things they won't accept because they don't have the commitment to introspection, to self-examination. They won't accept the possibility that maybe, just maybe, they lied about people and to people for so long, called so many people racist and sexist and homophobic and transphobic, bullied and cajoled and language policed and nannied people for so long that people were even willing to vote for Donald Trump just to make them go away. They won't accept that possibility. It has to be nefarious things. It has to be, you know, in the case of the recount, some kind of error or voter fraud, which we were told was just completely impossible. I mean, you know, it's just a vast right-wing conspiracy. There could be anything wrong with the election result whatsoever. The fact that they fixed their own primary to fuck Sanders is not